Hello everyone. In this video, I'm gonna give a brief introduction to exponents. First, I'm gonna define what exponents are, and then I'll give a few examples and go cover some laws and shortcuts and everything. All right, so what is an exponent? Well, an exponent is basically any number or variable that's multiplied to itself repeatedly. And the exponents, let's say we have a to the x. A is the constant that's being multiplied to itself, and x is the exponent. You could also say the quadratic function or the parabolic function x squared, where x is, or I mean, I should say the monomial x squared, where x is the variable and square the 2, the 2 is a constant. So you could have x to the power of a constant instead. But either way, this is the exponent. Let me circle that. Exponent. So how does that work? Well, let's say we have a to the x. So in theory, we have a times a times a times, well, I should probably, all right, let's back up a little bit. A, let's replace with the x, make it a little less confusing. So a times, oops, a times a times a times a sub x. Say a sub 1, a sub 2, a sub 3. But basically, they're all the same number. But I'm just saying, like, how many times the subscripts are meant to indicate how many times being multiplied by itself. So that's basically what a to the x is. Make it look a little more like a multiplication. All right. And then x, let's say, so like an x squared, say we switch the variable and the constant, you have x times x, which equals x squared. And then I'll get to the shortcuts in just a minute. So first I want to give you an example. So let's say you have a is 2. And let's say you want to raise it to the power of 4. So that means you're going to multiply 2 by itself 4 times. So you got 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4. It's 4. 4 times 2 is 8. And 8 times 2 is 16. 2, 4, 8, 16. 2 times 2 is 4. Times 2 is 8. Times 2 is 16. All right. So yeah, that's it. Now let's go over some basic laws of exponents. Let me erase this and then let's go over some laws of exponents. And again, this isn't meant to be comprehensive or exhaustive or anything. It's just a brief introduction. So let's say you have x times x, and like I did earlier, x times x equals x squared. X squared. That's the additive property. I believe that's what it's called. I don't know if that's the official name, but that's basically what it is. So let's say instead of x times x, you have x2. Let's do another example. X squared times x cubed is the same thing as x to the power of 2 plus 3, which equals x to the power of 5. All right. Conversely, we have the conversely, if you divide, what are you going to do? You're going to subtract. So we have, let's see, you have x to the 4th minus x cubed is the same thing as x to the 4 minus x to the power of 4 minus 3, which equals x, just x. Basically all you're doing, just subtracting. Now don't confuse addition when you multiply each other with parentheses. Don't confuse so x2 times x to the power, or x squared times x cubed, is not the same as x squared parentheses 3 to the power of 3. In this case, you have to multiply. That's x squared to the power of 3 is the same thing as x squared, multiplying x squared by itself 3 times x squared times x squared, which equals x, you could algebraically, you can write it x3 times 2, or x2 plus 2 plus, which equals x to the power of 2 plus 2 plus 2. Yeah, better to write that down. Which equals x to the 6th, x to the power of 6. Oops, make that a little more visible. All right, so there you have it. There's a basic introduction to exponents. So when you add, and then the laws of exponents, when you add the exponents, when you add, I should say, something to, when you multiply something to itself, it's the same thing as adding an exponent. But then when you divide x5, write that back here, equals x squared of 5 minus 3. It's the same thing as subtracting x squared. But then if you, like when you add parentheses, well, you do x squared, well, an exponent, and then you put another exponent outside of parentheses, you multiply it to itself. Those are some basic properties of exponents. All right. Hope you enjoyed this video.